What's up, guys? Erroneous here, back with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and in today's video, I'll be joined with none other than Blazin. Blazin, how are you, man?
I'm doing good, Erroneous. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on the channel, brother. How are you today?
Doing fantastic, doing fantastic. Of course, we're doing a late night thing. We're both on the East Coast, I take it. It's like 9 p.m. at night right now, so thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. We both got kids as well, so it can definitely be stressful and hard to set up these sort of collaborations, but I do appreciate you coming on. Guys, leave in the comments down below. Blazin, if you are subscribed to his channel, also definitely head over and take a look at his channel. He creates a ton of content. In today's video, we are going to be going over 3 supports and 3 damage dealers each that we would utilize in Nightmare Hydra or any level of Hydra that would help enhance your account as budget champions in case you just don't spend a lot of money or any money in the game, right? So these are going to be super impactful for your account and you might be sleeping on them. First champion I'm going to pick is going to be Visix the Unbowed. Very, very great champion. You get her at a very low amount of time playing the game, about 270 days, and she's a login champion. And for her skills are amazing because she can do provoke as well as decrease speed and ally protection. You know, she comes with a lot in her kit. She used to be way worse, but they did buff her a couple of years back and now she's pretty amazing. I personally put her in a hex set, but of course there's other sets you can utilize. Blazin, what do you think about this champion?
I love her, man. She was totally trash when she first came out. It was a disgusting feeling pulling a Void Shard and pulling a Visix out. And then when she got buffed, it was like, okay, you know, not bad. We'll take it. And then when Hydra came out, she was just a phenomenal champion because the provoke on the A3, right, gives you a little bit of a shield too, decrease speed on the A2 because, you know, decreased speed was one of the main things you wanted to bring in Hydra. Now it's kind of iffy depending on what you do, and with the ally protection, definitely is huge. And putting her in a curse set is probably one of her best sets. I currently have mine built, I think, in a Relentless set, and I've seen a couple that have been built in a Provoke set, just to take care of the Head of Decay. But
yeah, provoke set, actually, I didn't really think of putting that on her just because she has a provoke, but I can see why people would do it since she has a double AoE. And then you can just target with the A1 as needed. And you could, if you bring in an ally attacker with her, she could just keep going after with the A1 and potentially provoke as well. Actually, a good thought, potentially, if people don't have Relentless or good Relentless or good curse sets. So that's actually a decent budget set for her, potentially, if you're also struggling and maybe you don't have books in her for the cooldown, because if you don't have the 3-turn cooldown as compared to the 4-turn without that book, then yeah, it makes it a little bit more difficult to tune the team, especially in the future when they decide to bring out instant Hydra battles. So that'll be fun.
On that.
We'll talk about that later on his channel. So great champion. I love her. I think she's amazing with the buff. I think she's great with the decreased speed. She does bring a couple of different debuffs, the decreased speed and the provoke. I add in the curse set because the hex is just that additional set that you need for that Head of Mischief, I believe, who you can't target without the hex.
Right.
So it can be very, very difficult. And you can also build her as a tank for your team. You want to really build her with a lot of HP, a lot of defense, supportive stats. I, for one, went for a little bit of damage. However, that's technically a knock on Visix because you can take more damage and she could die faster. However, I haven't really had too many issues, luckily. And then, of course, don't forget your Hydra area bonuses. So with my Hydra bonuses, I have mine at 279 speed, 66% crit rate, 220 crit damage, 388 resistance, and 385 accuracy with 52,000 HP. I'd love to have the HP higher, but, of course, beggars can't be choosers. Only work with what I got.
So the build sounds great. It sounds good. The only thing is the crit damage might just be a little too high. Because of the ally protection, the protector takes more damage when they have too much crit damage. Crit rate always 100% is a great thing. Other than that, I mean, the build sounds great.
Yeah, she works great in my Hydra team. I think I use her in hard mode Hydra. I just kind of pair her with other lower level fusions, and it kind of gets me through, honestly, because as a free to play player myself, I just don't get Void Legendaries. I got 5 Void Legendaries in 5 years of playing, so that's an average of 1 Void Legendary a year. Now, there are some free to play players out there like Final Kenpachi or Boozer who end up with like 15, 20 Void Legendaries. And I'm just sitting over here like praying and wishing on a star that I could get another Void Legendary anytime soon. And the sad part is all mine are pretty trash besides Marichka. That was the lucky one.
Well, Final Compachi is, and I always pick on him about this, but he's a $14 free to play player.
Oh, that's right. Can't forget about that. Yeah. the lowest spender in the game. But yeah, still amazing player all around. But I know he got like a Krisk really early on, and then he got like a bunch of really top tier Void Legendaries early on, and I was just like, damn, I'm so jealous. I am so jealous. But I'll have to keep wishing upon a star. But for my team, I'm going to showcase my team really quickly for team setup. So I have my current Visix in my hard or normal team. I typically run her in hard, and then I run them with Eostrid, Uko, which is also 2 other fusions. Well, Ugo is not a fusion, but easily accessible from Sacreds or other shards. Pythion fusion, Razzlevarg fusion, as well as Varl the Destroyer. He's from Doom Tower. So they're on my hard team, and they pump out about 100 and, they used to pump out like 200 plus million, and now they pump out about 100 million. So almost half the damage, which is pretty crazy because of how significant the buff was to the Hydra. So it's unfortunate. So I'm trying to optimize the team to hit around 120 to 160 million, which will happen over time with gear, with better champions, so on and so forth. Who would you pick for the next support one?
So for my first support, I picked a champion that she could be utilized for many areas of the game, but is a lot of the times overlooked, and it's Doompriest. In one of my teams, my Nightmare team actually, I use a Tuhanarok. But if you don't have a Tuhanarok, right, and you have your block debuffs, your decrease attack settled out, Doompriest can come in and deal with all of the debuffs. If you put her in a Relentless set, she's going to bring a pretty decent heal, and then she's going to do the most important thing, which help you deal with the head of Torment. Getting those fears on you and having her, if you speed tune her and have her come in, going either last or first, depending on the order, she's actually going to be phenomenal. She'll deal with the provokes. The only drawback she has is on her A1, she places that increased crit rate, which, depending on what champion it goes on, if you have a dedicated champ for your Head of Decay, it will target it, and then it'll strip the buffs. So as long as you're bringing a pretty solid not decreased defense, block debuff champion, she's going to be a phenomenal champion to bring in. I did a what was it? I think it was like a hard or brutal team, and she was like the star of the team because of that cleanse.
Yeah, she is pretty insane. And I have mine. I actually got a 6-star awakening on mine about a few weeks back, or maybe a month ago. And I used to use her a ton regardless. And in Curse City, she carries in Curse City as well. She's insane. I put mine in Miracle Heal. Not sure that's the best one for her, but I did have her in Miracle Heal because of the heals, the passive heals.
Yep.
But I'm not sure if it works correctly. I think she has to place the heals as compared to passive heals. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I haven't done an extensive amount of testing for that.
Yeah, Miracle Heal is probably one blessings that I don't take in Hydra because of the Head of Decay. Mm-hmm. It just causes too many problems because you lose HP when you heal afterwards. So it's better not to just even bring it in. Just take the 25% or 20%, whatever it is, loss of the HP right off the bat.
Would you consider putting her in a Cruelty then, or would you consider putting her in like Phantom Touch? What would you consider for a blessing?
I would want to say Cruelty. Granted, she's single target, so
Yeah.
it's not going to be the best one.
Hmm.
But I think, yeah, I think I would want to say Cruelty.
That seems
Because
like
she's
the
not going to
better one
do,
here.
yeah, because she's not going to do a lot of damage anywhere else.
And she doesn't
She's
place
not built for
debuffs.
damage.
She's more so
Yeah.
just yeah, so I think that would be the only thing that she can do, just support. And then that would, cruelty is kind of like a support blessing where they destroy or decrease the target's defense. And at a max star awakening, she would decrease the defense by 4% per hit, up to 40% for champs and 20% for bosses. So 5 hits on one head would bring it down to 20% decreased defense, which is pretty good. Of course, if you're on Nightmare, you want to make sure you have really good stats for her. But she also brings an increased attack, which is nice. I do like that. And then that passive heal can definitely save and make or break a champion from dying. So I think that's great, especially if you're starting off early, mid game, or you're just breaking into late game. This would be an amazing champion for anybody's account. So I do agree with that. She's an amazing champion.
I just looked at mine and I have +3 in Cruelty.
Nice. Okay, so you do have cruelty. Yeah, I was thinking of changing her into cruelty myself because that miracle heal doesn't seem like it works at all on her. So, forewarning to everybody out there: do not use miracle heal on her because it just barely works for some reason in Hydra.
She doesn't need any books.
True, she really doesn't. I mean, because the damage on the A1 is kind of like minuscule. She rarely does any damage. So you really, you don't need
relentless,
books.
No books. Fast and relentless. That's it.
Yeah, I ended up booking mine just because of like CVC, but you definitely don't need it. Unless you're trying to utilize that increased attack on a 3-turn, which is decent. If you don't have an increased attack champ on your team, then she can definitely slot in to do that. All right, so for the next support champion that I'd like to go with, I'm going to go with Eostrid Dreamsong. So she's an amazing support legendary, a fusion champion. And as you know, with free-to-play players, these fusion champs can come in handy, seriously come in handy. Even if you're an endgame spender whale, some of these legendary champions, especially including Eostrid, still comes into endgame whale account teams depending on their gearing and depending on their team setup. Might not be in their nightmare team, but most definitely it will be probably in a harder or brutal team for them. What do you think about this one?
Trunda.
Trunda.
She is the number one thing because she brings increased speed, she brings increased attack, decreased speed, weaken, turn meter boost, and on her passive she has a heal. I mean, yeah, she's the number one to go for.
Yeah, she's insane. I do utilize her in my, I think, brutal or hard team. She is really, really strong paired with any champions that do damage. And the increased attack and increased speed on your champs is so massive. Just having that alone is huge for Hydra. And it's on a 4-turn, but basically a 3-turn because it grants an extra turn. Goes into the A2, places the weaken and the decreased speed. Mine's not booked at all, but having her booked, she goes from a 75% to 100% chance to land decreased speed and a weaken, the big version, for 2 turns and decreases the turn meters of all enemies by 15%. So that doesn't work against Hydra, but it does work in Live Arena, and in general. I've lost to Eostrid a ton of times in Live Arena just by underestimating her. So you can never underestimate this chick.
The A1, that's it.
It's that A1 is 75%
disgusting. To get a sleep on it. It's like a Sifi, and it's like, I'm like, why is it always proccing? Why?
It happened to me, and I almost flipped my lid. I was like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll definitely need to put books in her at some point as soon as possible. I just have so many champs at this point, and books are such a scarcity, especially legendary books, that it's just like, as a free-to-play player or low-spend player, it takes forever to get those Lego books, man. I wish the drop weight was better in Clan Boss because I've gotten 1 Lego book in the past 2 weeks from Clan Boss.
Ooh.
So it's just so crazy. But overall, this champ, amazing. You also can build her for damage. She's a really hard-hitting champion, surprisingly, for support. Most support champions don't hit that hard. But she can smack. And I put mine in a Hex set, so that way she can land the Hex. You won't have as much issues with the Head of Mischief. Highly recommend building her extremely fast. Get the accuracy up there. Mine's only 238 speed, but with the Hydra battles area bonus, she is 258 speed, 87% crit rate, 220 crit damage, 352 on the accuracy, and barely any attack because her attack is only at 1,000, so 3,100 attack. But I put her HP at 76,000 and her defense at 3,600 to survive because you don't want her to die. Especially if you're utilizing her with other champs that are supporting but no reviver. I do see people bring in teams that are just all supporting, no revive. So just be mindful of that. Yeah. Anything else you want to add on for Eostrid?
You know, you could look at a reflex set if you have somebody else that already has the hex already in. Relentless, again, just proccing, you know, as many of those as possible, going back to the A2, the A3. The more turns you take at the higher levels of Hydra, the better it is for you because the more damage you'll be able to put out.
True. So Eostrid, definitely amazing champion. Don't sleep on her. Who's your next support?
So my next one is actually going to be a champion that you can buy out of the, the token trader, I think it is. And it's Molly Tankard. Now, Molly, for the longest time, she was if you did not have her, you were not beating Faction Wars. That's how bad Faction Wars was for us back in the day. But she comes in with a provoke on a 3-turn for 2 turns, right?
Yeah.
It's a 50-50 chance to put it on, but she has a reflect damage, so you can use her for your Head of Decay, your Head of Mischief. She brings a revive, right, on a 4-turn cooldown, and then her passive fills the turn meter of all allies anytime she takes a hit. When it's a boss, it's 25%. So boosting your turn meter every time, because we know the Hydra, you know, 4 out of the 6 heads are all AoE, so they're always going to get hit. You could put her in a provoke set if you really want, you know, to try to maximize on getting the A1 to be able to keep that Head of Decay under control. But she just does a phenomenal job.
Yeah, she does do a great job. I do have her I utilize her mainly in my Brutal team or my Nightmare team. And she locks it down. The 2-turn is just nasty. It is only a 50% to proc the 2-turn provoke, but when it happens, it's so clutch. Especially when you're about to be devoured, or the head is about to remove all the buffs and remove all the debuffs, and you need those up. The worst part is when you don't land the provoke, and then the cloud head comes out and just places the poison cloud, and then it's like, oh great, now I can't do any damage, and I'm struggling here.
Well, the nice thing is for her too is it's a place, so it's not an attack, so she doesn't have to actually hit them. So it goes through the poison cloud as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's another great thing about her. That is pretty insane. So I do love her, and she can do some damage too. I've never built her for damage, but I've heard she can hit pretty hard, like 300k damage, 200k. Really? At least the strongest players. I think I saw a video with Scratch where she did like 150 to 250k damage. On the A1, because he has a +4, so it's like +4 full damage, you know, like maxed out. I'm sure she can hit for pretty high damage, but I did see her hitting for big numbers. Mine hits for like 70 to 90k damage, but I don't even have her built-in damage. But that has to be a decreased defense and a weaken on the floor. So she can hit pretty hard. I would just build her for just tanky supporting stats and build her as fast as possible so she can keep getting around to that provoke.
Yeah, so I have mine built with like 290 speed. She's 287 speed, 450 accuracy, 450 resistance, and I have her in a bolster set to try to keep her because she doesn't bring a heal. So on the team that I run her with, she's the only reviver, so I need her to constantly be keeping herself up.
Okay. Do you have any issues where she has to constantly pick people up, like if they're doing damage to the head that places the damage, sends back the damage, basically? Like what she has, basically. She has reflect damage, right? Doesn't she?
So, yeah. So it's is it the head of...
I think it's the head of suffering.
I forget which one it is. Yeah, the head of suffering.
Yeah.
No, so I don't really have that problem because I use her on a brutal team. So most of those champions just kind of... My thing with Hydra is just kill the heads before they get to take too many turns.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then she also has a chance, I always forget this, but she has a chance of damage increases by 50% if the target's under HP burn. I think that's why she hits so hard, if you can get her in full damage as well with HP burns. So she pairs well with someone like a damage dealer like a Rathalos who does more damage. But of course, we'll get to the damage dealers eventually. So I don't even have masteries on mine, and she's pretty insane. No masteries even needed, but yes, the mastery is going to be super, super helpful. Highly recommend at least getting the book into the bar brawl. And yeah, the passive's pretty insane. The next or last one that I've got for support is actually an old fusion as well. And this is Uko, Mighty Uko. I rebuilt mine a few different times for PvE, PvP, utilizing them all different areas of the game, utilize them in Curse City, utilize them in Live Arena. This build that I have on him is pretty bad right now in a one-turn Stone Skin to try to go slow and just revive everybody if they die to put the block damage. But no, I don't really recommend this one. This build's not great, and I haven't changed it because of silver.
Uko's one of their best build, or one of his best builds is provoke or regen for Hydra.
Yes, he used to be in my Hydra team for Nightmare, and then I swapped him out just because I got better champions over time. But he just brings so many buffs. He's a reviver. He does block buffs and decrease accuracy, which is a big one too, especially for the Wrath Head who places provokes. Decrease attack for the Wrath Head is insane, which I feel like he places it almost every single time with that 75% chance to place on the A1. So you're not getting as much damage. And then increase speed. So if he uses the revive ability without any dead allies, he just places increased speed and will do it without the dead allies, or if there are no dead allies. So that's really nice. Right. And then chance to steal random buffs. So if they happen to steal buffs, he could steal some back.
Yep.
So really strong overall. And a speed aura. Yeah. Can't forget that too. 20% speed aura.
Yeah, no. The only bad part about Uko, and I have used them on some teams that I've done, is it's just like Molly. There's no passive healing being done. So you need something to keep him up. So that's why, I have mine, I think, in a regen set when I did it for Hydra. Just to, so if anybody did die, he'd pick him back up, and I really wouldn't care. I wouldn't lose much.
Yeah, I actually used to have mine, I think when I had him in Hydra, I think I put him in Cursed, and I put him in Immortal. So he is getting a low heal, but I didn't have enough regen set to go around, basically. So yeah, amazing champion. Any other shout-outs for him you want to give?
No, I think he's just a phenomenal champion. He's came off the arena meta for a while now since they fixed it, or since they,
they kind of patched him, is what they say. Yeah. We did a patch, not a nerf. It's just a patch. He's too powerful placing those stuns. But yeah, people were getting so ticked off about him. He used to be able to, basically, if you guys are just starting to play this game, essentially what happened in the past, if you put a stun set on Uko and made him extremely fast, his A2 removes the stone skin and then applies the stun on the second hit as well. So because people would wear stone skin, you use Uko, you strip the stone skin, hit him again with a chance 18%. If you put fearsome presence, 23% chance to stun on the second hit. They patched him so that he cannot place the stun with a stun set on a second hit, only on the first hit, which really nerfed him into the ground, to be honest. So that stinks, but at least you could still use him in Hydra.
Yeah.
What's your last champion?
So my last one's actually one that you get. You can get this champion pretty early on, free to play, and it's DJ from the Bannerlords. Not the Bannerlords, the Barbarians. Sorry,
Barbarians.
She's early game, very underrated. I mean, she has a revive for the whole team on a 5-turn cooldown.
Oh yes, Djamarsa. Yes, she is the referral champ.
She is. So all you really have to do is make some referral accounts, and then you could get her. And she's literally one of the best champions you can get early on, because trying to progress through any sort of content, a reviver is the first thing you need, and they're very limited, right? But that says she has a heal, right, on the A2. That's a pretty decent heal, and has a pretty decent turn meter boost, 30%. On top of that, her A1, it's not a high chance. It's only a 50% chance to place the decreased speed, but it's still decent if you don't have somebody else. And then her passive, whenever an ally uses an active skill, has a 20% chance of decreasing the cooldown of that skill by 1 turn. When you book it, it is on a 1-turn cooldown.
Yeah, that's actually really nice.
Yeah, that's a built-in reflex set.
And that's whenever they use an active skill on a 1 turn.
Yep.
That's actually pretty. I didn't even think about that. Wow, that's a good shout out. I mean, she's kind of like Ancora a little bit. I know Ancora has a much higher chance to decrease a skill on her A1, but she has to actually attack with her A1 in order to try to decrease. So I do use Ancora on Nightmare for my team, and she's really amazing. And she has a decreased defense in all battles by 20% for Djamarsa. So she's definitely, and she revives all dead allies.
Battles, yeah.
And Rector Drath actually, that's definitely a possible shout out, of Rector Drath. Also insane for Hydra, but we didn't pick her on today's video, but she is insane for Hydra because she places the veils.
Plus,
so nice little
DJ's
shout
got a really, really cool skin on the Heretic skin. Let
me take a look. I don't have her leveled up to max. I've never maxed her, but I do have her level 50. I utilize her in Curse City. The Heretic skin. Oh yeah, that looks nice. Yeah. Very nice. Very stylish. Very sleek. All right, so we're going to move on to damage dealers. So 3 damage dealers for Hydra that are like budget damage dealers. I'll go first. The first one is actually a champion that everyone should have gotten, and it is Sun Wukong. I think he was a login champion. A login champion that... Did they bring out another login for him or like a promo code? I don't remember if it was for him or if it was for Ninja.
It was Ninja.
It was for Ninja, okay.
Ninja came around twice, yep.
Yeah, so but for Sun Wukong, you can actually pull him from shards. Ninja, you can't. That's why they brought out another promo code for Ninja, but it was only for new players. So you couldn't get a duplicate Ninja. I was really frustrated at that. Some people did, though.
It was if you didn't have him, he would be in the shop for you. If you were a new player, you would get him. So basically at this point, if you were Ninja-less, everybody got him.
Oh, that's pretty sick. So regardless, you could just wake up and be like, oh, snap, Ninja in my account. So pretty much everybody in the game who logged in that time frame, which was like a month or so, that they gave us a time block, you got Ninja. So you probably have Ninja on your account. But we're talking about Sun Wukong on this one. So this one with Sun Wukong, amazing, amazing damage dealer. I've gotten him to hit up to 1.5 million damage on his A2, Staff of Wonder. Now, this does require decreased defense and weaken, increase attack, okay? So he's not just going to go and hit 1.5 million. He's also in Merciless on my account, and I get my Merciless from Curse City like everybody else, and if you're farming normal Curse City, you can get Merciless gear. Can he hit that much damage with lethal? You would just have to have much better stats because Merciless ignores more defense. Right. So a great set for him. I think that's the best set in the game for him. Unless you're using him in live arena, then I would recommend going with a 1-turn stone skin. But honestly, I still like Merciless better because it also has a chance to reset the cooldown of a skill whenever he does damage. So it's not like it's a 30% chance to decrease a random skill cooldown by 1 turn when dealing damage. So think about how often he's dealing damage. Every single attack, every single moveset he does, he deals damage. So he's constantly resetting the A2. So we're constantly hitting big numbers, especially with heads that are decapitated. Against non-decapitated heads, I think mine hits around about 700,000 to 900,000. But I also don't have a crazy built Wukong. Mine's at 7,100 attack, 294 speed, 276 crit damage. So he's not, for my account, he's pretty good. It is my best damage dealer on my account, I will say. But for Krakens, for big damage dealers, they're going to get a better build than this, that with their +1, +2, +3, and +4 champion, right? So insane. Plus he does the block buffs, AoE. Plus he does a big hit on the A1 too. He actually hits really hard on the A1. And then he revives himself. So when he dies, he's not as susceptible to getting eaten when you get that shade, whatever the counter is for the Devour. If he dies, the Devourer that goes on to somebody else on your team, and then he just revives himself. So you really don't even need a reviver with him technically. So it's kind of cool. What do you think about Wukong? Have you ever used him in Hydra?
So I haven't, but what you did forget to mention is that he strips the buffs as well.
True.
Um, and that can be pretty clutch. Again, it goes over the poison cloud, right? Because he doesn't need to hit to strip. He strips first, then he hits. So he's phenomenal for that. I have not. Your build, sir, sounds 10 times better than mine, and that's because I don't actually have mine built.
Oh, you got better champs than me. You got better options. Let's just say that. Let's just say that. Better options. So for Wukong though, yeah, you're right. I didn't even mention that is he does strip, and that's what's so clutch for my Wukong. I use him in brutal, and I use him with ninja as well as Mikage. And Mikage, ninja, and him just put in insane amounts of work. I'm honestly thinking of putting in a third damage dealer because we survive so long and blow up the head so often that I don't even need additional supports. But the issue is how much more debuffs can I get without requiring a reviver? That's the hard part.
Right.
So I'd have to bring in like a Mithrala, or someone could put big buffs, shields and stuff like that. Or someone like who I would really love is like a Krisk. Well, that's a pipe dream, but that would be the perfect person to put in without having to worry about a reviver for
I
brutal
mean,
at least.
you didn't do 350,000 champ training points for Chris.
Oh yeah, that was a good time watching Hell Hades do that. That was
I came
absolutely
in
insane.
second
You did?
at 300. I did 350,000 points. The guy ahead of me did 375.
Oh, was that the recent one they did?
No, that was the
Was that
one
one
that
the
they
one with
did
Hell
like
Hades?
2-3 years ago.
Oh
The same way
damn,
Hell Hades did.
that's
I was I was
painful.
I was global 15th or 14th, something like that, and the guy beat me by 25. It was
Oh,
crazy.
that is nasty work right there because you got to stay up
Most
all day and all night doing that. Oh my god, carpal
Yep.
tunnel galore. But
The
yeah,
honest
this.
helper wasn't up.
So I think Wukong, people sleep on him for Hydra. He actually puts in crazy damage for not being a enemy max HP champion because I think enemy max HP champs have definitely been given a surge in damage because they, with the new buff, they actually allowed for enemy max HP to hit more damage against the bosses, so they're actually better to utilize, I think, for as like budget champs for free to play players, unless you have like Toshiro and whatnot. But
Right.
with the enemy max HP, they're pretty much the best now, in my opinion. What do you think about that?
I I agree. I agree. I didn't even know he could hit that hard. I thought his utility overall just brought him in for that, but I may, look over him again because that definitely sounds promising.
Try him out. He actually hits pretty crazy damage. Um, what champion would you use for a damage dealer, budget wise?
So my first one's actually going to be Rathalos.
Oh yeah.
Rathalos, he's a little hard to work with, but if you can get it done, and there's a tool, I think Yannick was the one that designed it, and you can find it, I think, in his Discord, but it's called the Rathalos Analyzer.
Hmm.
It'll basically keep track of anytime he uses his A2, his A3 with counterattacks, ally attacks, everything, and then it will tell you when the best time it is to use the ability to make sure that either his A2 hits as hard as possible with it being AOE and dealing 200% more damage. So I think Rathalos, coming in with no accuracy needed on the A1 to land the decreased defense, the A2 just completely smacks. The A3 is I think on mine I've gotten him to hit close to 1.2 million on the A3 uh, on everything being decapitated. But with the A2, I've done some ridiculous dumb hits with like 20 million damage.
Damn, that's
Uh,
insane.
and then if you make sure that you have HP burnout, uh, he's just phenomenal.
Yeah, with his passive. Receives 25% less damage from enemies under HP burn and inflicts 50% more damage against targets under HP burn debuff. So he's nasty. Paired with like Artak, which is also another fusion. I used to pair him with Artak before this buff. Now it's harder to get him to work, I feel like, but
If you pair him, Ninja, and Lady Mikage.
you think he'll do more damage possibly than the Sun Wukong?
Oh, I guarantee you.
Okay, I'm definitely going to try to utilize him on the next one then, on this upcoming, because I haven't done any of my Hydra battles yet, so I'll definitely utilize him this week and try him out, see if I can do more damage. Because,
I
the
would
every fifth
definitely-
hit is huge.
Do you do it auto or manual?
I do manual to try to get the most damage
Okay.
possible.
So definitely look into. I'll send you the link to it, but definitely look into the Rathalos analyzer, because if you pay attention to it, you'll boost your damage phenomenally. Like hitting with the A2 when you're supposed to, when it's like a fifth hit, is huge.
And you know
Huge.
what, everyone? We'll leave the link to the Rathalos calculator down below in the description. And you guys can utilize it too if you use PC. Of course, it won't work for your mobile device, so that's unfortunate. But for the PC, you can utilize that. I didn't even know that it existed. Huge shout out to that gentleman who created that as well. I have mine in Savage and just random offset pieces. And this Savage is not the best. It's okay. I have him at 205 speed. He is a 4-star blessed champion as well, so keep that in mind. And then with the area bonuses, you always want to work on Live Arena. Even though people hate it, you got to work Live Arena. You got to work on your Hydra. If you're struggling early, mid game, or late game and you're trying to break in and try to get the highest chest possible for your account, then you need to farm Live Arena. I know it's not the best for everybody, but you got to do it. And with my Hydra battle area bonus, I have 225 speed, 310 crit damage, 100% crit rate, of course, 6100 attack. And yeah, you don't need any accuracy for this guy for bosses. So super strong champion. Fully book him out. I have mine in Crushing Rend. Would there be any other blessing you would consider other than Crushing Rend? Would you consider like maybe I don't know. There's got to be another damage one potentially, right?
So Crushing Rend is probably one of his better ones. Ideally, you want it 5-star.
Yeah.
If you have enough buffs, though, Heaven Cast can be clutch.
True. Doesn't that increase the... I've never used Heaven Cast on a champion. Plus 2% damage for each buff. Oh, wow. That's actually not bad. So if you have 6 buffs stacked up, I mean, that could be pretty nasty.
Exactly.
All right. Awesome. So that's a good pick. For my next pick, I'm going to actually go with an epic champion, and it is Husk. The reason why I say Husk, his value actually surged a little bit. He is an enemy max HP champion. And let me go ahead and show. I have 2 Husk built, and I utilized them in the past. I have one in Cruelty, one in Crushing Rend. I think Cruelty's better, but Crushing Rend can work. Cruelty for sure is definitely better, though. I don't utilize them anymore in Hydra because I just have better options like Marius and Newt. But you can definitely bring them in. They can put in work if you put in Relentless. And now that you have the set for Merciless, if you can swing it, Relentless and Merciless on an enemy max HP champion is the absolute, in my opinion, hands down, the absolute best sets you can put on an enemy max HP champion in the entire game. Still waiting on it for my Newt. It's so hard to get that build, though, to be at least like 250 speed, really good damage. That's the tough part.
I disagree with you on Newt.
What do you think?
I got my Newt built in Affinity Breaker.
Affinity Breaker. Okay.
Yep.
So how does that help with the Affinity Breaker?
50% to not weak hit. Works great for almost anywhere in the game.
Okay.
I have 3 Newts. 2 of my Newts are built in Affinity Breaker.
Damn, if you don't have 2 nuts, get a third. All right. So so yeah, that's pretty sick. I actually never even thought of, I don't think I have a single Affinity Breaker set that I could do on my entire account. Maybe I have one, but it wouldn't be good. I can tell you that. It would be trash.
I think I got like 4.
Dang. Okay. So Affinity Breaker. Interesting. And that's just, where do you use him mainly?
Everywhere.
Okay, so
Every
that's
one of my
just to
dungeon team, like my Fire Knight team, my Shogun team, my Sand Devils team, Fire Knight teams, Dragon teams,
okay.
everywhere. The only place I don't really use them in is Ice Golem,
Hmm.
but every other team, uh, any rotation of Iron Twins, he's good.
Yeah. I do use mine in Sand Devil 25. I use my newt paired with the Godseeker and Eerie, and I farm
Hmm.
food. So
Yep.
it's under 2 minutes. You can get it to be 50 seconds if you have him in 9-piece Merciless. 50-second farming food. Most people don't do that because they just do the like 10-second run with crazy champions. Obviously, if you're like a whale cracking out, you can do that. But and that's to farm through the events as quickly as possible for Sand Devil. But for if you're trying to optimize and min max, definitely farm food with them and Sand Devil. Highly recommend it. But not everybody does that.
But as for Husk, though, I mean, I I always have a running joke with one of my mods. Bob loves Husk. He hates Husk because he was
Really?
trying to do a Hydra battle, and it would never land the provoke. And so I'm like, Bob, Husk is just one of the best champions. And honestly, like early on,
Ah,
before some of these other crazy champions like Nuke came in, he was one of the best nukers. Because it was AOE, you'd put him in a reflex set. I actually had two built for my nightmare team at that point,
mhm.
and I used one in reflex, one in relentless.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I have one in Relentless. I think I tried to put both in Relentless, and I ended up switching one because I used them in Curse City. Well, I ended up using both of them in Curse City, so I was swapping their gear around a lot. And I forget which stage it was. I think I created a video on it. But the stun on the A2, people forget about it. It's
Yep.
not just enemy max HP, it's also a stun. So if you do utilize him anywhere else, and it's weird that his arena aura is HP in arena.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck is
Although
that?
I will tell Plarium, you just need to give him a little bit of love.
Yeah,
Let,
just give him like an all
let's
battles
buff him
aura.
2024, not 2019.
He's still very strong though. Like that enemy max HP is going to be buffed because of how much damage he'll do
Right.
against those heads when they're decapitated, and especially with decreased defense weaken, he'll do
He's
damage.
also HP based, so he'll survive a lot longer than like your royal guards, right?
True.
Which is also a big thing because if you do bring, he was more sought to be brought into Hydra because he was HP, and if you brought royal guard in, the Hydra looked at him, he was dead. But Husk could at least be built to take a hit.
The person that's on my clan who has the best account in my clan, his name's Destiny. Big shout out. And I talked about Sun Wukong earlier. His Sun Wukong hits for 31 million damage, but he's mainly used I think he's in Rathalos set for Sun Wukong as well as Savage. So he has a couple pieces of Rathalos set or Slayer rather, and Savage set on his Wukong. But the Marius 294 million. That's absurd.
Wow.
That's how good Marius is, enemy max HP, or just in general. And he hit for 539 million with the enemy max HP. So enemy max HP has skyrocketed for Hydra. It's absolutely absurd. But yeah, he said he always talks about Sun Wukong because he's like, well, I just keep stripping the buffs, so I don't really care about them stealing buffs because I get that ability back so often. Yeah, Sun Wukong is super underrated and not a lot of people really talk about him. Who's your next champ?
So my next champ is actually somebody you can get from the what is it? The Arena shop, right?
Oh, okay.
And it's actually Drexthar. Now, I, when we all got Doom
Oh
Tower,
yeah, the
Drexthar
bazaar.
was, yeah, you can get him from the Czar. When Doom Tower came out, Drexthar was one of the most sought after champions because you would just build him in a regen set or a uh, lifesteal set, and he could pretty much take almost any boss on. Little did I know until we held like the Aidland Challenge. Mr. 40 came in and used Drexthar. He actually had one of the best free to play teams, and it was tough because you could only use fusions or login champions. and he ended up doing close to 300 million damage on Nightmare Hydra with Drexthar, and get this, Ultimate Gaelic.
Really?
Yeah, he won the competition. It was crazy, but Drexthar does have automatic HP burn that can be landed on anybody that attacks him, so he doesn't really have to attack somebody, and that also goes through Poison Cloud. So if Poison Cloud is out, he will place that even if he gets hit. He does bring a provoke in, right? And the A1 I think is a triple hitter, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, triple hitter with a 30% chance of placing HP burn for 2 turns.
So you could build him in a provoke set again, and between the A2 and the A3, and then if there's already HP burn out, he's going to give you a decrease attack, right? And then a pretty solid aura for all battles. 70 accuracy is nothing to kind of sneeze at.
Yeah, that's actually a huge aura, and I do utilize him in Doom Tower still. I still utilize him in Demon Spawn for the faction crypt, and like he can actually hit really hard on the Burning Lash AoE. He has one of the higher multipliers actually in the game for his AoE. Yep. It's just you don't typically utilize him in like arena or anything because you got so many other options out there for defense nukers, and he's mainly built for PvE, not for PvP. But he can hit pretty hard. His A1 though, low multipliers, but the A3, A2 actually hits pretty hard.
The kit overall, and again, he's one of those champions that you could definitely use without books as long as you have everything else in place, like a provoke or something, because he will just sit there. Like I had him for a while. I had him built in a what's the Guardian set, right? So he would soak up the damage. He would give me an ally protect, and he would be placing the HP burns out, and then you can use your ninja to ignite them.
Okay, that makes sense. That's actually pretty cool. I haven't utilized him. Maybe I used him like really, really early game when Hydra first came out. I started utilizing him because of the provoke and the HP burns, but then I quickly got rid of him because of the champs that I got over time. Yeah. But definitely a very usable champion. Don't sleep on him. He's still really strong. I actually have 2 built. I have 1 built, and then the second one's level 50. You really don't need to build 2. I was just, when I built him, it was a long time ago because I pulled a second one, and I was going to utilize 2 of them for, it was for Doom Tower wicked long time ago when it first came out, and I was having struggles with the wave content. I didn't have enough CC champions at the time, and I was going to try to just burn them down, and that was it. But never ended up coming to fruition. I ended up building the Seer team because I pulled a Seer. And then I was like, damn. But
him and Tormund together, and no one will ever take a turn in Doom Tower.
True. That's very true. And I never ended up getting Tormund until the Yuletide event.
Yeah.
4 years in. 4 years in last year. And now we're doing Sir Nicholas this year for the Yuletide event. But yeah, I'll probably have a separate video on that one. The next champ for me, the last one for me, is going to be Thor. I don't have him built yet, and I do want to build him, but I've been focusing on, the reason why I didn't build him is because I was focusing on Curse City and trying to get Carnage, and so I do have Carnage. Haven't built Thor yet, but I know he's disgusting. I do have a 4-star blessing waiting. I don't have any masteries, nothing done yet. I have to build his master. But this guy's even in arena, I totally slept on him. Like, super strong hitter.
I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You've had him for over a month now and you haven't built him?
Nope. I have not built him yet.
Your damage is going to go up like, you were complaining that it was like 50% loss because of the Hydra changes. Mm-hmm. He's going to bring it back up. That's how crazy he is.
I think maybe I probably will replace Varl the Destroyer with him.
Oh, I like 100%. Use him on my Brutal team. And I think I pair him, I forget who do I pair him with, but I use him on my Brutal team and he just destroys the Hydra.
Yeah, I gotta build this guy next. He's just so nasty. I don't know why I haven't built him yet, but I think it was just because I was trying to build others. And then someone was like, oh, build a Loki. And then I built Loki and I still haven't finished him yet. I think I have 5 champions. And I recently built a Kaja as well because I'm trying to figure out Live Arena, and I want to build Kaja because I'm in Gold 4. And but anyways, I won't get into that. But for Thor, definitely an amazing champion. His passive is disgusting. Every time this champion deals damage, increases the thunder counter, stacks up to 10. Each thunder stack increases the champion's crit damage or damage by 3% and stacks up to 30%. Once the thunder counter reaches 10, attacks all enemies, places a stun for 1 turn. It doesn't really matter for Hydra. After the attack, the thunder counter resets. So this guy hits so hard. It's absurd. When I've lost to him in Live Arena, I don't even know how many times because I underrated him. And he just smacks.
So I use him on my Brutal team, and I have him paired with Ninja, Lady Mikage, Uko, and Korra, and Archer. But on my last run, he did 161 million, and my Ninja did 121.
What?
The whole run, I did 400 million damage.
And what would you recommend would you recommend Heaven Cast on this guy? Or would you recommend a different one?
So it depends. If you're going to build any sort of accuracy form for that decreased speed, you actually want to go with the Cracking Roots, I think it is.
Or maybe Nature's Wrath. I think it's Nature's Wrath you're thinking of, possibly. Increases damage inflicted by this champion for every debuff they successfully place.
Nature's Wrath, yeah. Sorry.
Nature's Wrath. So this one
Cracking Roots is the one for
destroying Stone Skin. Yeah. Nobody's thought of this, but I haven't seen it yet. And I can't build the video on it because I don't have 6-star Awakening on him, but Baron in Cracking Roots would decimate, and nobody's made a video on it. Why? I don't know. Why has nobody made a video on that? He would destroy through the stone skin. I mean, he might. I don't know for sure, but I tried him, and he hit over 75% of the stone skin, and I think I only have a 2-star on my Baron.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I want to see someone do it. I
only got a 1-star.
Yeah, so you got to have a 6-star, and because it's like 100% more damage, right? So I don't know. I want it so badly, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah, Thor, amazing champion. Anybody should use him, especially if you just grabbed him as a fusion. He's probably your best nuker on your entire account.
Honestly, whatever best gear you can get him in is going to work. Obviously, Savage, Lethal works the best, but whatever you get him in, he's just going to destroy the Hydra.
Yeah, I'll definitely build him next now that you said that.
he hits my decapitated heads for like anywhere from 800 to 1 million damage.
That's absurd. That's literally like an enemy max HP hit right there. That is insane. Because my Marius, if there's decreased defense weakened with all decapitated head, he hits 1 million per hit, or like 600,000 to 1 million per hit. So you can see why.
The Head of Suffering hits you can hit for 1 million because he's got 10 million HP on the decapitated head.
Yeah, it's absurd. So what's your last champion, and when we'll end up wrapping up?
So my last champion is actually going to be one that pairs with DJ, and it's Crohnam. Crohnam he places an HP burn. Now, overall, Crohnam himself is a phenomenal champion. Can be used in Sand Devils to solo it with food. Spider, right, is a god tier champion, and he's free, right? You just have to do some login. You just have to do some referral account. Sorry. But he will place the HP burn. He'll activate it. He's like an Artak, just a little bit better, right?
Okay.
I think this guy is I get he's very difficult to acquire, but he's definitely slept on.
He does take forever. Oh my god, it took me so long. It took me so long to get this, and then having people help me out along the way. I'm like, it took years. But if you do it, like if you have a PC, you can open up like what's that system called? BlueStacks, and you can have multiple instances of a game running, and you can actually link them all together and play them all at the same time. I don't have the patience for that, but you can do it.
I'm currently running that on 2 accounts to try to do this guy because I don't have him on my main yet because I've done it for other people like as a giveaway, which definitely takes time. But I just haven't had the patience to do it on my account. I do have him on one of my alt accounts.
I do have him on my account. I never got around to building him. Yeah. Because I have Artak and I have so many other HP burners and stuff now, but I know he is strong. I think when I do finally build him, I'm probably just going to pair him with Artak to duo Ice Golem 10 as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And maybe Djamarsa.
Yeah, because he will also revive if he dies when Djamarsa is on the team.
Oh, that's true. So that would be really helpful, especially if you pair Djamarsa with him in Hydra. They would be a force to be reckoned with. And he has accuracy in all battles by 50, which is not bad. And yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty good champion. He's not bad at all.
Yep.
Attacks all enemies,
3 turn
attacks
cooldown,
times.
4 turn cooldown to 3 turn cooldown for the HP burn, 4 turn cooldown to activate it. But again, remember, if you pair him with DJ, he's going to, be able to get that automatic reflex set in.
True, because he'll have a chance to reset every active skill he uses. Nasty. That is nasty. Really, really awesome champion. But I think that's going to be it. We're going to wrap it up here. Blazin, thank you so much for hopping on the channel. Thank you for talking to me for so long. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys for sticking along on the ride. If you've lasted this long, we really appreciate it. Definitely leave a like on the video, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Also hop over to Blazin's account on YouTube, subscribe to his channel, and then watch the video that we're going to be making on his channel as well. Link in the description down below to his channel, and make sure you're a subscriber. Subscribe. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Take care.